And the thing is, it's not always with the paperwork, it's just pivoting how you're moving your process.
All right, everyone, this is another episode of Fireside Chat. Literally, we are behind the fireplace. I have my friend Michael Kin here with me today. So, Michael, tell us more about you. Where are you from?
I currently live in Portland, Oregon. I've lived out there for probably half my life now, 18 years. Before that, I lived in Oakland, California, born and raised there.
Yeah, but I remember the first time I met you, you kind of explained your backstory a little bit with me. Are you comfortable with sharing a little bit? Just,
My troubled days.
yeah.
From like the beginning or?
However you feel comfortable talking about, because I usually have a really great respect for people who overcome adversity. I think that would set a really good tone about where you are and compared to where you are today.
I'll get more to the more recent stuff because
Okay.
that's how it kind of intertwines with what I'm doing now.
That's
Like
great.
where it got me to go to.
Okay.
But I mean, if going towards like when I was younger, is it in and out of trouble from 13 all the way, it never stopped. It
You're a
didn't
troublemaker,
stop,
basically.
Yeah. I was just on a different path,
Yes.
you know. But what is it? I would say my most recent one that I had to deal with was 31, living life, got 2 kids, and I caught a federal case.
Okay.
So my federal case was for attempted distribution and possession. So getting
That's a
kind
pretty
of,
heavy write-out.
it wasn't bad because of how everything played out. It actually worked in my favor a lot more because it could have been worse, but it played out pretty perfectly in my favor.
Right.
And I would say more of just because of where it led me, which is here.
Yes. You're where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, so when I ended up catching my case, I tried looking for work. Nobody wants to hire people with a record.
Correct.
I think the most defeating thing that I actually came to was the fact that I applied to places like Uber, DoorDash. So I wasn't good enough to drive people around. I wasn't good enough to deliver food. And at that point, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So it took me a while. I've been watching YouTube and all this discipline stuff and
Right.
trying to figure out where I wanted to go. And, you know, I don't know why. Maybe it was like the Lambos and stuff, but I got into wanting to do like stock trading, you know? Yeah, it didn't work for me. I did that for 2 years, I think, before I kind of really got to the point of it wasn't working because I was losing money. It was like an up and down thing. Like
Yeah.
I'd make a few grand, I'd lose a few grand.
It's very volatile, the stock market.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then what ended up happening was I actually watched the YouTube video of this wholesaler, and the guy had a really heavy Asian accent, and he's sitting there making phone calls and stuff, and I'm like, if he could do it, I could do it. Yeah, no, it wasn't that easy.
Because he's Asian, you're Asian,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
well,
speak
I mean,
better English.
yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, dude, I could talk better than him. But yeah, no, yeah, that guy he was good on the phone. He knew how to pivot very quickly. And again, I guess failing forward and knowing how to have the conversations and like he had the experience. So when I started cold calling, I realized very quickly it's not that easy.
Right.
So after kind of going around, someone actually pointed me out to watching one of Pace's YouTube videos and kind of seeing how he handled conversations. It was his 24-hour YouTube live he was doing, and he said what he wanted to say. That's kind of what pulled me in. Like he wasn't pretending.
He's very genuine.
100%. Like, but the funniest thing was every time like the dude hung up on him, Pace would just call him back and be like, "Hey, I think we got disconnected." But the crazy thing is the guy kept picking up the phone.
Right.
No matter how many times he hung up, every time Pace called back, he picked up the phone. And then Pace would re-engage him in the conversation. The guy's like, I think after a few minutes, he kept realizing, wait, I just hung up on this guy. Hey, click. Pace would call him back, re-engage him, and restart the conversation with him again. But that's when I joined SubTo.
Yeah. And then now you're doing amazing. Tell us what you're doing right now.
So I started everything doing transaction coordinating, right? The hardest thing is trying to figure out where you belong.
Correct.
I got to a point where I felt pretty defeated. And then I got a message from Elena Tang. So
Bless her heart. I love Elena.
100%. So when she reached out to me, she spent like 2.5 hours, and I didn't know this, but she's like trying to figure out who I am at this point,
Try
right?
to figure out where to place you that
It's
fits your
exact.
talent.
She was kind of like, yeah, no, she was trying to place me somewhere. So after we spoke, she's like, hey, I'm going to introduce you to Caleb Christopher. I'm like, why? She's like, I think you would fit very well
To his
with
team.
working with him. And I'm just like, I don't have anything to offer him though. She's like,
Right.
no, you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Credit. Yes.
I'm going to introduce you to him. Like, I didn't have a say in anything.
Right.
She immediately put me and him in an email. And
Right.
I'll talk about it a little bit later, but
Right.
she introduced me to Caleb. He kind of took me through this whole thing of like interviewing me in a sense.
Right.
But, you know, at the very end, it was a new company that he was building. It's
Right.
his company, Creative TC.
Right.
So my whole thing to him was, I'm willing to learn. I'll be the first and last person to leave.
You work hard.
You don't need to pay me. I strictly want knowledge. To me, what you could teach me is worth way more than what you could pay me.
All right. That's how you basically essentially get paid. Well, you're not getting paid, but you learn the skill, you learn the knowledge. That's your payment.
He gave me something to run with.
Yeah.
So what is it? It's actually funny with him too was I actually worked with him for I think a year and a half. But in the beginning parts, it was kind of a joke, but not a joke to him. But I wouldn't accept payment from him. Because he would keep saying like, hey, you're helping me a lot, all this other stuff.
Yes.
But to
See,
me,
that's what the good people would do. They don't want to low pay people. They want to pay people what they deserve. I think that's why he feel like he needs to give you payment because you did good work.
and I would say I still didn't feel comfortable because I felt like I had a lot more to still learn.
Right.
So the joke to him was, I'm gonna fire you
So you can.
and then I'm gonna hire you as an employee.
Employee.
That's the only way I'm gonna bring you back. And I was like, I'm still gonna come back. You could fire me. I'm just gonna keep coming in your Zoom. But eventually we came to an understanding and figured some stuff out from there.
Yeah. So I know you did a lot of more complicated transaction, especially a lot of them are kind of require a lot of hand holding, a lot of coordination, right? What would you say if you need to pick out? Maybe give us like a few, the complicated transaction, how you navigate through, what do you have to do to help? Because we know a lot of entrepreneurs, especially investors, they're good at negotiating, get out the contract, but when it comes to paperwork, they're just clueless. You're kind of like their guiding line on that.
Well, the big thing for me is like a lot of the complicated deals, they're not complicated. People overthink them too much, right? And the thing is, it's not always with the paperwork. It's just pivoting how you're moving your process, right? Like, you know, a lot of people talk about Morby methods, right? And they always feel like the only way to do a Morby method is by putting like a second on that same property. There's other ways to maneuver it where you don't either need to have a second. You just need to be able to think a little bit more outside the box.
Okay, can we give us an example, more concrete, how you think outside the box?
This is where you might need to spend a little bit of money, right? And this is where some investors they want to be as low out of pocket as possible, but just to kind of keep things a little bit more concrete, sometimes you need attorneys.
Yes.
Right.
Don't cheap on an attorney. They gonna save you.
They might not always have the same ideas of you, but like when I talk to attorneys, there's this one task that I'm trying to do. You don't need to know everything else.
Right.
I just need you to understand this is why we're putting it together.
Right.
Like, what is it? Even with one of the Morby methods I've done was where we placed the seller in our LLC. She was an actual member. Low percentage, she had low job duties.
Non-controlling membership.
In a sense, but like again, she had rights in the company to try and keep it as solid as possible.
Right.
But there were certain things we would just make sure that it would have to get manager approval for. Right? And again, she had a duty in the business, but it was very minimal. Some sellers are okay with that, especially what we're trying to offer, right?
Right.
Because what we would end up doing from there is we would have a contingency in the operating agreement talking about, first one, seller buyout, right?
Right.
The other part was a default with a partner. So instead of having to try and go through a whole foreclosure process where you might have to spend some money, hire an attorney,
You have a kick-out clause?
we have a kick-out clause.
Yeah, if they don't, okay. That's pretty smart.
And again, if they don't fulfill their obligation to the company.
Then they lost their interest. Okay.
So, and what we do a lot of the times when I do Morby methods, I will only come in with them as a partner. because there's a certain point where you really have to start maneuvering things. There's some legal things that you end up doing where you're taking on a lot of responsibility by putting the deal together, where if something goes wrong, you're gonna get pulled back into the deal.
Right.
So a lot of the times when I work these types of deals, like the risk has to be worth the reward.
Correct. And the risk, sometimes it has to be a shared risk, I would say, that they're also on the hook, so they are somewhat cooperating.
Well, I don't know how many like partnerships you've had where they go left, but a lot of the times if something goes wrong, a lot of people throw you under the bus. And like for me, is I stand by a lot of the things that I do, but again, when it gets to that gray area line, if I know I'm gonna take a majority of the responsibility, I gotta come in as a partner.
Right.
But again, this is why I also hire an attorney. Look, this is what we did. This is the whole point of these contingencies. How does it sound to you? Like, do we need to tweak it? Is there something that I'm missing? If they give me the okay, then we're good to go.
Right. So you will put in the idea, you pick up the phone call, the attorney will help you draft the language.
Yeah.
Right. See, that's the way to do it. I noticed like a lot of a transaction coordinator, they're essentially trying to play this attorney role to draft legal language themselves. Sometimes they copy and paste one here to there, which
doesn't always work.
It doesn't work, and also a lot of time, every state has a different type of rule. So whatever the state, language drafted by this attorney in this state may not apply to the other state because they have the different nuances that every location is different, right? So,
I will say I know a few people that are smart as shit where I've seen them go to battle with like attorneys in courts and they've won, but it's a very few.
Right. So don't take that chance. Okay. Well, I'm so proud of you. I know you've been doing a great deal and you're now working. Who's your majority of the clientele you're working with nowadays? Are they local where you are, or are you open to serve more client, more like a nationwide?
So I'll work anywhere, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
But the main people, like actual people that I work with, there's Chino and Chino's team. So there's Chino, Tiger, Abraham, and he's also now got more operators now like Shane, Romel. That's in Nevada though.
Okay.
So on the other side, like I work with Robert Harden a lot in Oregon.
Yes,
so he's more, PNW, he's in Washington, Oregon.
Right.
He does a lot of buy and holds. Going back to Chino, he's doing a lot with housing the less fortunate.
For living.
But other than that, like with the people that I work with, it's just whatever rolls in.
And I love how when I see you, you just kind of roll with them. It's like an entourage. You're just like a groove. You're basically part of the team. They treat you like a family. You're holding down the fort for them and they completely trust you like 100%. I think that's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I would say with like Chino, Tiger, and Abraham, and Rob, I talk to them on a daily basis. I talk to them pretty much every day.
Well, I'm so glad you decided to come. I know you're super shy. You didn't want to do this. I kind of bribe you into it. So cheers to you. Cheers to your success. And I'm so proud of you. I wish you the best, best of the best.
Thank you.